Okay. So again, what we're going to do is going to have a few speeches right now. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Master Young, you can still hear me? Mr. Young? Mr. Young?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to start. Then we'll have Master David Reitz, then Club President Victor Zhao, then Master Young, then Master Lynette Love, Master Lee, then Grandmaster Chung. So what I've done for the last 4 is I've kind of started off with the state of the club. And as the club's unofficial historian, I can honestly say there has not been a 5-year period like this before in terms of just major club events. Usually there'll be 1, maybe 2, but honestly there's probably 3 major and 1 minor one just in the last 5 years. I can't compare anything to it. So kind of going back, I don't know if the rest of you do this, but I found myself doing that. There's BC before COVID and AC after COVID. So let's start with COVID, because like it impacted everybody, it impacted us. Basically, the university started shutting everything down in March, and by April, that was it. But, you know, we're a determined bunch. We don't let a little thing like a global pandemic stop us. So within just a few weeks of things stopping, a couple club members started getting together. And over Zoom, they just started with some stretching and some core workouts just to kind of get together via Zoom. So Jamie Toe kind of got that stuff started, but then Julia Smith, Jenny Pake got that going, and then we kind of grew that. So starting in the summer, we actually started regular workout Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings via Zoom. So I would lead one, Julie would lead one, Jenny would lead one, others would lead them, and we went through the entire summer that way. Well, by just roll back again, of course, we had to miss our end of the semester belt test that we normally did. There was no way to redo that. So that continued on through summer and even into the fall. Now, during the fall, we did do a makeup test outside. Managed to get a couple of people caught up with their belts and everything like that. But then it was back to Zoom. And somehow we even managed to add members because the universe is functioning. And one of our members who joined in, Nala's here. And we even kept her. And so we continued working. And it was interesting watching students working out wherever they could find space, in a basement, in a dorm room, somewhere else. But we did manage to keep going. And then come winter term, the university started to open a bit more, and they started allowing us to work out in the old Coliseum there, where it was socially distanced workouts, couldn't get more than 5 feet close to each other. So it was interesting. Good for Pumse, but not much for much else. But we still managed, and we even managed to have a belt test by the end of that year. That summer we worked out outside, started with masks, then once everyone was tested, then we continued on. Then the following fall, we started out back inside, and the only criteria that the CCRB had was that we had to wear masks, which is, again, not fun to wear while you're working out, doing hardcore Taekwondo, but we made it work. And then they continued to relax things. So we somehow managed to survive COVID and actually came out just as strong with a number of even good members there. However, that was not the only thing that happened at that time. As things were shutting down that April, the Club Sports requested a meeting with us. And our president, Liam Blanchard, along with 2 of our coaches, joined this meeting. We thought it was more COVID criteria. Like, don't you guys do this, don't you guys do that. No. What we found out was that the University Club Sports was going through a risk management review. We were supposed to be part of this, but they kind of forgot to involve and engage, and instead Club Sports just filled out this big questionnaire, turned it back in. So basically what happened was both Taekwondo Club and the boxing club ended up on the chopping block because of the risk of head injuries and concussions. So a whole bunch of us got together to put together a response, and it was an interesting. So I kind of started things. I got a good set of data from Master Chung and the ECTC. They gave us raw data, studies that showed that Taekwondo was actually less risky than rugby tournaments, soccer tournaments, gymnastics, and other things. Raw data. We also explained to them the rules of Taekwondo, how no, the entire tournament isn't just black belt Olympic style sparring and rules. We explained Pumse, no contact. We have C team, no head contact. B team, only touch, no hit hard. And then we explained how the black belt competition worked, where we don't let just anyone compete. They have to attend so many practices, they have to do this, they have to do that. So the written explanation was good. Then we actually got to meet ourselves with the risk management group. And we kind of walked through all of that again. And risk management eventually said, looks like you're pretty good. And in fact, one of the things they allowed us to do was buy floor mats finally. We've been trying to buy floor mats for like 10 years. And club sports said, no, there's no space, there's no room, even though we volunteered to pay for it. But the first thing risk management turned around and said to them, oh, floor mats? Yeah, that would help with head concussions. Let them buy them now. And so they let us do that. The other thing, unfortunately, was we explained how with electronic gear nowadays, people don't hit as hard. They said, okay, so from now on, when you do sparring practice and you make contact, you must be wearing electronic gear. We said, that's not the way it works. They said, still go buy it. So one of the things we'd like to do is thank the alumni again for donating the money so that we could both buy the mats and buy that electronic gear so that we could continue practicing. Now, we don't necessarily practice all the time with electronic gear, but we do have it and we do use it. But the key thing is, especially is the mats. Those make a big difference because that's what we compete on now. So we somehow managed to survive both those things. Now, the next kind of a more minor thing, for those of you who might have been driving around recently, you drove past the CCRB, you notice it's changed a lot. Basically, they tore it all the way down and are rebuilding it right now. In fact, they've been working their way through all of the buildings. Rec Sports finally got money to redo the gyms. So they started with the NCRB a while back, just redid some interior work there. The IM building got almost completely gutted and has been completely rebuilt. And that is actually now where we work out. When they closed the CCRB, they actually took us to a fairly nice room there in the IM building. It's a nice multi-purpose room. It's got wood floors that we put the mats on, but it's nice soft ceilings. It's got mirrors on one side. So it's good space. It's pretty good space. That may end up being our home going forward, because at the last club sports meeting, I asked about what's going to happen when the CCRB reopens. And they said, oh, because of all your gear and equipment, we're going to leave you in the IM building. I said, oh, please, people, don't do that. We have lots of engineers, people from North Campus coming in. It'd be a lot easier to be in the CCRB. They said, well, we'll see. So we'll see. But again, CCRB is still almost a year from being open. Anyways, in the meantime, we still have good space in the IM building, so club has managed to continue despite all of this stuff going on. And then the last thing that kind of happened kind of toward the end here. So I talked about that makeup exam we did during COVID. I did that exam, I led that exam, and while I was there, I demonstrated a few techniques that I wanted the testers to do, and the next day my knee was sore. And I'm old, my knee's always sore. But 3-4 weeks later, my knee really hurts. I could barely walk. So I go in, get an x-ray, thinking maybe I really strained some ligaments or tendons or something like that. And what I found out was I had absolutely no cartilage left, and bone spurs and arthritis and all that. Basically, short story, I ended up having to get my right knee completely replaced. And they told me 9 to 12 months. After 12 months, I went back to try to continue teaching, and it wasn't working for me. So I decided it was time for me to step back from being a regular instructor in the club. So there was kind of a precedent set, both when Master Young graduated and moved on, and the club brought in Grandmaster Chung, and also when Grandmaster Chung stepped back, and I was named the club's master instructor. We got the club officers together along with the senior black belts, and we formed basically a committee to decide, interview candidates, find candidates, interview candidates and such. And we did do a large search. So we actually interviewed Master Sheng and young Master Covert from Canton. But then we also fortunately had a good internal candidate this time, also fortunately. Going back to BC, before COVID, so ever since we started formal collegiate competitions back in about 2008 or so, we've been very fortunate to have good student coaches, starting off with Master Dan Santiago, Naji Husseini, through to El Capitan, who is here, and Alex Minghe. They'd all done very good jobs as the team coach, keeping things organized, getting the team together, just doing a great job of being leaders. The problem was when Alex left a few years prior to COVID, I didn't see a good internal candidate this time around. So I went outside. I went over, I've been part of Midwest Taekwondo. My son went there for several years. I know Master Gale, who runs it. Master Gale is also a U.S. national coach. He knows everybody. And so I asked Master Gale if he happened to know of a good, young, up-and-coming black belt who might be interested in getting into coaching and taking over as our competition team coach. And he said, yeah, I know of a guy. I think he might work well. He's been competing for a while. He's been a high-level competitor. He's won like nationals and other major competitions. He's really good, but he's starting to think of winding down. And so he introduced me to Mr. David Reese. And so I met David. He and I talked for like a good hour. I thought, yeah, I think this guy could work really well. And so we brought him into the club, had him lead a full workout, and all the comers came back saying, big thumbs up. This guy's working well. And David joined us as our club coach and did a great job. Did a wonderful job. So since then, David has been promoted. And so he put his hat in the ring to basically take over my position, not only as the club coach, but also as the club's head instructor and master instructor. And after considering all the options, looking at the members, the committee got back together and it was a unanimous decision to select Master David Reese as our new head and master instructor. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Master David Reese.